them too. So the first non-Christian Advent candle is really one of hopelessness. Because many people compare their lives to what they see in television, and on the ads, in the magazines, pictures of idealistic home life. Everything always turns out right. Everything is always fine in the end. But for many people, that's not the way it is. Many people are lonely. They're alone. They have family members who are not with them, who are in hospital, who are plagued with addictions. And for them, the Advent season really means a season of hopelessness. And after working for 40-some years in medicine, I can understand how this affects many people, because you see them in the office and in the hospital. So hopelessness. The second is anxiety. The candle of anxiety, because it's the time when people are anxious, when they get concerned. And they get anxious over many things. They get anxious over not having enough money, not having the food they think they should have, not having the decorations in the house as the neighbors do, not having the presents that they think they should be getting for people, just not having enough time to do all the things they think they should be doing, or what the neighbors are doing, or what their friends are doing, that they think they should be doing as well. So there's a considerable degree of anxiety. Many people get anxious over buying gifts they can't afford with money they don't have. Sometimes for people they don't even like. But they get anxious. The third candle is one of grief or guilt. Because if you get anxious over not buying the gifts that you think people should have, then you feel guilty when you don't get those gifts, or when you get the gifts and know you can't afford them. When you do things that you can't afford or haven't got the time for. When you go to parties you really wish you hadn't gone to. There's a great deal of guilt and grief when the bills come in, especially in January. So there's a great deal of grief. And the fourth candle is one of strife. I can't recall the number of times I've seen arguments between people over gifts they did not get, or gifts they did get that they didn't want, or over meals that weren't properly prepared according to their liking, or over not being able to go on a trip because of a storm or lack of resources. Strife occurs a lot during Christmas, and it's unfortunate. And part of the problem stems from the fact that most of us in this part of the world don't really know what we really want. We don't know what we really want. And if you go to the stores after Christmas, you'll often see the long lineups at the exchange counters, taking things back that are the wrong color, or the wrong size, or the wrong material, or just the wrong thing. We often see people lined up because they did not get what they wanted, or they got the wrong thing. I've seen people in the hospital upset because the woman wanted a fur coat, and she got a chainsaw. Or the man who wanted a boat and got a model of a boat. That happened to me too, by the way.
Still haven't got over it.
But we don't know.
You didn't specify the size.
technicalities. And people often don't know what we want. In this part of the world, we have so much compared to other parts of the world that we really don't know what we want. This was expressed in a poem put out by a 14-year-old boy. I just want to read it to you. It was spring, but it was summer I wanted. The warm days and great outdoors. It was summer, but it was fall that I wanted. The colorful leaves and the cool, dry air. It was fall, but it was winter that I wanted. The beautiful snow and the joy of the holiday season. It was winter, but it was spring that I wanted. The warmth and the blossoming of nature. I was a child, but it was adulthood that I wanted. The freedom and the respect. I was 20, but it was 30 that I wanted. To be mature and sophisticated. I was middle-aged, but it was 20 that I wanted. The youth and the free spirit. I was retired, but it was middle-aged that I wanted. The presence of mind without limitation. My life was over, and I never got what I wanted. True. And the same thing happens at Christmas. We don't get what we want. And sometimes we don't want what we get. How many times are gifts taken and just put aside because they're not really wanted at the time? Caroline was wearing a new pair of gloves yesterday. I hadn't seen them before. They were new. They were unfortunately 10 years old, but they were new. Because she had never worn them before. Right? Now I remember when we first started in practice, the three of us exchanged gifts. I didn't want anything, but somehow said we should exchange gifts. So we did. And on one occasion I got a wallet. I didn't need a wallet, but I got a wallet. It's a nice wallet, leather. Inside it was a card. It said, "To Bill for Mother." It's a medical practice, yeah, medical physician. So we often don't get what we want, and we don't want what we get. You know, life is like that. But it's true. We often don't want what we get. In the book of Luke, it says Zacharias wanted a son. He wanted a son, and the angel came to him in the temple and said, "You will have a son." But then he said, "Well, I can't have a son, I'm too old." You see, he really wanted a son, but he didn't really want one, because he didn't think he could have one. The angel said, "You will not speak again until your son is born." When the angel came to Mary, he said, "You will bear a son." And she said, "Whatever God's will is." See, we have the greatest gifts possible. It says in Ecclesiastes 3:13 that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of his labor. For this is a gift of God. It says in James that every good gift and every profitable gift comes from above. Amen. And of course, John 3:16 says that God so loved the world that he gave his Son as a gift. It says in Ephesians, "For the grace of God is yours by faith as a gift of God." In 2 Corinthians, "Thanks be to God for his unspeakable gifts." If we concentrated on the gifts from God, rather than what we do concentrate on, we'd be much better off. A short time ago, I had an old coat I was just going to throw away. And for some reason, Caroline took it in the car, but she went to Truro and found a homeless person over there and gave him the coat. He didn't care about the color, or the small tears, or the shabbiness. He didn't have a coat. He didn't exchange it. You'd think he'd won the lottery. We do not appreciate what we have. And if more people appreciated the gifts of God that were given to all of us, then those candles of the non-believers would soon die down. And the true candles of hope, faith, joy, and peace would shine much brighter in this world.
Amen.
And that's something to think about.